Yo, what's going on, everybody? Just straight out of Boston here. Today I'm back for episode number 30 of my Pittsburgh Pirates franchise series here on MLB 17 The Show. So we're approaching the trade deadline. It is trade deadline season, and our target is Jacob deGrom. He is the guy that I'm eyeing here from the New York Mets, a team that is in need of some position players, and I am willing to go into some of that position player depth that I talked about in the last episode, taking a look at deGrom's numbers now. Obviously, the Mets have those four really good starters. deGrom is the only guy in this franchise that they haven't locked up to an extension, so it makes sense that he is the guy that they would want to trade, and we are offering them a package of Alan Hansen and Josh Bell, and then we're also going to swap Felipe Rivero for Addison Reed. Reed and Rivero both very much struggling on the season, but the trading of Josh Bell opens a spot on the roster for Miguel Torres. We also call up Oliver Wilson in wake of Alan Hansen being off the roster, and then we sent down Drew Hutchison, and we're actually going to end up trading Drew Hutchison here for a relief pitcher. Sean Doolittle, Brad Brack, and Luke Gregerson were some of the other names that we were in on, trying to shop around Hutchison, but Roberto Osuna ends up being the final target, and we acquire him for Drew Hutchison, Chad Kuhl, and Jacob Stalling. So Osuna still has a few more years of team control, which is nice. I'm not sure if he has 2 or 3 more years. It might only be 2, because I think he made the team out of spring training when he came up as a rookie. So we've got him for 2 more years. He was struggling with Toronto, and Toronto was a team that needed starting pitching. The reason I didn't end up getting Doolittle, Brack, or Gregerson is because not a lot of teams were looking for starting pitching, and it was tough to try to trade guys like Hutchison and Kuhl for a relief pitcher. We often had the proper value, but we just couldn't. It wasn't what the other teams were interested in, so we kind of had to overpay value-wise, but still, we have lots of starting pitching depth, and I've been very good about keeping good starting pitching depth, and we just got deGrom, which made Hutchison expendable because we still have Tomlin, and then Kuhl was just in AAA for us. Still only 26 years old would be potential, so he could, eventually become a good MLB starter, but the way our pitching is looking right now, I'm not too worried about it. The deGrom acquisition, I talked about it before, as we're taking on the Yankees. I'm probably not going to talk too much about the gameplay in this episode because I kind of want to talk about the trades I made. So the deGrom trade, I'd been talking about it, looking to get a number 3 starter, and not only is deGrom, he's probably more than, I don't know what game he's going to start, I don't really know how the playoff rotation is going to work out. I'd probably say, even though he's been very good since getting off to a slow start this season, Garrett Cole would probably be the game 3 starter. I guess I'd go Tanaka, deGrom, and then Cole right now, 1, 2, 3. And you can see this is kind of an interesting pitching matchup because we're taking on Jameson Taillon. Of course, we traded him for Gary Sanchez in the offseason, and Sanchez is actually getting the day off today. It's the Sunday afternoon day game after a night game, so the backup Tyler Stevenson in there. We've got a few backups in Diego Vina and Oliver Wilson getting starts today. But anyway, back to the deGrom trade. So like I said, we really have that good top 1, 2, 3. We're going to be able to match up with the likes of Washington and Los Angeles and even Chicago in a series, which is something, our offense both times in the NLCS the last 2 years has gotten kind of just shut down, and we really haven't had the pitching to match it. Of course, one of those teams was New York, so we don't have to worry about them quite so much anymore, and they were out of the race anyway, so kind of looking for a rebuilding kind of trade. deGrom is a free agent after next season, so we get him for a season and a half, which is why I was willing to give up all of the team control we got out of Josh Bell and Alan Hansen. And, like I said, we have other guys who can fill those spots. We have Austin Meadows and Miguel Torres to play right field. We still have Diego Vina, and we have Oliver Wilson we just called up to kind of fill in at second base, or third base, I mean, because we have Dozier still. So, we have a ton of position player prospect depth, and that's why I was willing to dip into some of that and really give up a lot. I mean, those are 2 high potential players, guys who are into their mid-20s now, but, guys who are worth a lot in the open market. Anyway, I have to pause for a sec because look at Jacob deGrom hitting one to deep right field, and that's gone! A solo home run for Jacob deGrom. This is not his first start with the Pirates, but it's the first time I used him. And I've always been a big fan of Jacob deGrom. I really like watching him pitch. His stuff is nasty, and when his command is on, he's pretty much unhittable. So I remember him striking out Stephen Vogt on 3 fastballs in the All-Star game a couple years ago, and I've always thought about that as a pretty cool moment. But anyway, the extra sort of layer to this deGrom trade is that he is insurance for if Garrett Cole leaves after the end of this season, because as I mentioned, he is having a very good second half. He's really corrected after getting off to a really rough start. Remember, in the, I think, second game I played for this season, Cole pitched in that game, and his ERA was up over 6, and he really didn't pitch that well into that game. I think he went like 6 innings and gave up 3 runs. Anyway, check out this play by Tim Beckham, who's the shortstop instead of Didi Gregorius on this Yankees team now. This is kind of an interesting Yankees team. They made a few moves. They have some interesting guys like Keon Broxton playing center field. Tim Beckham, who's actually up at the dish right now. He's striking out. But anyway, the DeGrom trade, it kind of gives us some insurance. And you can see here he enters the day with the 3rd best ERA in the National League among starting pitchers, that is. But if Cole does leave, we still have 2 very good starters in Tanaka and Jacob deGrom, and then we have Antonio Liriano. I think Ivan Nova is actually a free agent, and I don't really know if I'm going to re-sign him. We'll see what kind of contract he's looking for. But past that, you know, it would be perfect if we could retain those 3 guys and Liriano and kind of have that be our top 4 for next year. I think that would be the ideal scenario because... And, you know, this is kind of just the way a lot of roster management works, but the timing of deGrom and Cole's pending free agencies, because Cole's comes first, he's probably more likely to get that extension, because that way we get 1 more year of having both those guys on the roster. Even though I think deGrom, at least this year, has definitely been the better pitcher. Cole was really good the first year, remember, but the last 2 years he hasn't been quite as good. And deGrom's got a really good track record in this franchise. He's had a couple straight seasons with the ERA under 3, which is, you know, pretty much makes him an elite starter in this league. And even though that's in the National League, still to have an ERA under 3 and multiple seasons back-to-back like that. Pause once again because Eric Thames is about to take Jameson Taillon deep to right field and gone. Take a look at the bat flip right there. But anyway, back to, like, you know, what I was saying, the timing kind of those 2 guys hitting for agency. But at the same time, it's also going to, you know, very much be dependent on how much Garrett Cole demands when he's a free agent. And if he's going to be looking for, you know, upwards of $20 million a year, maybe even like 25 to 30, I'm probably not going to pay him that. I'm probably just going to, you know, go out on the market, try to find a number 3, number 4 starter, and then, you know, hopefully lock up Jacob deGrom long term, because I'll have a chance to work out an extension with him. His contract expires at the end of the year, despite him having 1 more year of team control, so I will be able to work out that extension. And that is kind of a problem in this game, is a guy like Cole, I couldn't work out an extension with him last year, even though he, you know, he had 1 year left on his deal, because you can only work out contracts when guys' contracts are up in this game. So just a little nitpicky thing. I would make franchise a little bit better in the coming years if MLB fixed that sort of glitch. But anyway, let's go back to deGrom, who is starting in this game. He's actually going to finish the day with 11 strikeouts to just 2 walks. Working into the 8th inning here, it's Beckham up with a 2-2 count. He's actually going to just take that slider looking. He strikes out for, I think, the 2nd time today. Now it's Colton Wong pitch hitting, and he is going to work the walk right there on the full count. That was pitch number 101 for deGrom, and that would be his last. His day is going to be done. Pitch count getting up there in the 100s, and he was starting to labor a little bit. The bullpen was pretty fully rested, so we are going to turn to Roberto Osuna. And Osuna I'm implementing as kind of the 8th inning swingman type. I still want to keep Tony Watson as the closer. But remember, Watson's contract expires at the end of the year too, so Osuna could find himself in that role next year. But right now, I'm trying to use him in that sort of Andrew Miller role. Look at Gregory Polanco throwing out the runner at home right there. Colton Wong to win off the inning. But I wanted to use him as the closer in this game just because I wanted to get him into the video and show him off in a Pirates uniform for the first time. But that's a trade that, you know, I think is going to work out well for us. We certainly could have gotten someone who was a higher overall than Osuna, but the thing you have to like about Osuna is just the fact that he is going to be team controllable for at least 2 more seasons and not make a ton of money in that time. He will be arbitration eligible, but he won't have a huge salary, which is going to help us, you know, hopefully free up some money to sign, either re-sign guys like Marte and Cole or potentially fill the voids that are left by those guys should they leave in free agency. So the Osuna one, and also, you know, and he's just a really, really good reliever. I mean, he has, in real life, he has something like a 47 to 3 strikeout to walk ratio. And then, you know, he hasn't been quite that dominant in this franchise, but despite his ratings going down, which is weird, his numbers were fine. His ERA was still in the, might have even been in the 1s actually, like the high 1s or low 2s. If I remember correctly, and last year it was in the 2s. So, you know, he's still a really good reliever in this game despite the low ratings. I don't really know why his attributes were diminishing in Toronto. Perhaps he was just upset with his role or whatever. Things like that can happen in Toronto, kind of a middling / rebuilding team right now. So you can definitely see them selling high on a guy like Osuna to try and get back a couple starting pitchers who they think could fill rotation spots for them over the next couple of years. So that is going to do it. I hope you guys did enjoy this episode. Let me know what you thought of the trades that I did make, or if there was something, you know, if you thought I should have made another trade, maybe to perhaps fill one of those position player roles that I have a few different prospects for, but no real solidified guy like right field or third base perhaps. But anyway, that's going to do it. Hope you guys did enjoy. Thanks for watching, and I'm out. Peace.